Hey everyone, Brandon here, welcome back to another Pilot Stud video. In today's video, a real treat for you all. We're taking a look at PU Air Korea's Airbus MCDU. Most of you will be familiar with what the MCDU or MCDU is. Basically is the flight computer in all Airbus aircraft that we've got in the sim at the moment. We'll be taking a look at this fantastic bit of hardware, and at the end of the video I'll be sharing my thoughts on it. Okay, so hello, before we get into it, do be sure you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 30,000 subs by the end of this year, so any help is much appreciated. Before I show this product off, let me just tell you I was sent it for free, but as I've always said, as we take it out of the box, I care about my channel's reputation far more than my relationship with any developer, so I try to be as honest as possible, as always. Opening it up, we see the MCDU pretty quickly, literally hiding beneath this bit of foam. As soon as I pulled this up, I was initially impressed. It looks very nice and felt really heavy duty despite being handmade. One thing I did notice is that it is very thick. That's not an issue. Now I did have to shut up there to pull that little bit of plastic off. That was so satisfying. PU Air Korea's MCDU comes in at a price of $420 US, add $35 US if you want the very heavy metal stand with it. Now, it's very difficult to compare the price to other MCDUs on the market, just because there isn't really any comparable products at the moment anyway. There's a few other versions made out there by a few other people. Some are a lot more expensive, some are the same price, but really this is sort of in the ballpark of what I'd expect for a handmade Microsoft Flight Simulator peripheral. Now, setup is easy. You connect it to your PC via a HDMI cable and USB cable. Sadly, this isn't a standalone MCDU software. It does require you to drag and drop a window from your MCDU from your aircraft over to the window on the actual MCDU. So that does mean there's not really any custom software here. That being said, pick an aircraft like the Phoenix or fly-by-wire A320 and it's perfectly fine. You have all the systems you need. Now, as you can see, I'm using the Headwind A330 here, if you couldn't figure it out, and it works almost perfectly. It's great fun to be able to use something like this with your sim. Saves me moving my head around in the cockpit all the time and just feels really awesome. These buttons, all 72 of them, are made out of rubber, so they feel nice and realistic. Definitely doesn't feel cheap. It's just a really ergonomic, not easy to use device. Don't get me wrong, there are issues with it. The key issue for me being the slightly shorter screen, which means you sort of have to squish down or condense the window from your simulator in order for it to fit perfectly into your actual MCDU. That's not a big issue, you do get used to it, but when you compare it like for like to the real thing, you can definitely notice the key difference. But the highlight for me has to be using this at night time, sat in your flight sim room or at your desk with this lit up. Really does make you feel like you're sat in the flight deck or cockpit of an Airbus A320. Of course, combine it with other products such as the Thrustmaster A320 side stick and jobs are good, and it really does feel like the real thing. You sort of have to make believe the whole entire cockpit, but it's really a good step ahead in terms of realism. To just go through some specifications of the product, combined with the stand and the MCDU, it weighs around 2 kilograms, works with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and X-Plane. I've tested it with a variety of aircraft on the flight sim, from the A320 by Phoenix to fly-by-wire to the A330 by Headwind to indeed the Inibuild's A310. Of course, doesn't match up perfectly to every single aircraft I've just stated, but using the PU Air Korea control center for the MCDU, you can actually go and assign buttons to do different things, which is quite handy and works very well. Would I recommend it? Well, if you're looking for an MCDU, this could be a very promising idea. It's not perfect, as I've said, but it's very close. It works very well and feels very nice. Now, a disclaimer with anything like this: whenever I take a look at peripherals on my channel, I'd always recommend you upgrade your computer before you buy stuff like this. If you've got a supercomputer or just a decent flight sim computer, then yes, feel free to go for something like this. But I think if you think you should upgrade your GPU or CPU, go for that before you go for something like this. This does use an extra window from your sim, so while the FPS impact is little, it still exists. I couldn't tell you the exact number just because it's so small, but it's definitely out there. Okay, so it's been really interesting to showcase this product off to you all. I know this will fill a certain niche of the flight sim market. Definitely won't appeal to everyone because of its high price tag, but for those of you that like to simulate Airbus ops 9 times out of 10 whenever you're on the sim, this may be a very good option for you to check out. Bearing in mind it's a lot cheaper than most of its competitors on the market. As I've said in this video, it's not perfect, but certainly has been fun to use and test out, so I'd like to extend a big thanks to PU Air Korea for sending me over one to test out. On that note guys, I'll see you all very soon, hopefully in another pilot stud video. Have a great day, bye bye.